And Secretary Mabus, welcome back. The chairman mentioned you're the longest serving Secretary of the Navy since World War I, and I think you're also the 5th longest serving Secretary of all. In the old days, they had some really long serving secretaries. So we worked together over the years on a lot of issues about ships and planes and submarines. Thank you for your service and the folks that you represent. Admiral Richardson and General Miller. First time here, but I'm sure the Secretary's given you his secret notes on testimony before the subcommittee, so welcome to you all as well. You know, there's so many things that the Navy does that we've worked together over the years, and when I look at the budget this year, you see things that we could talk about for a long time in terms of, you've mentioned them, the replacement class, the cruiser modernization, the P-8s, the E-2D Hawkeyes, all those things, LCS. But I wanted to focus in, the chairman mentioned the question of ships and the numbers matter, and the Littoral combat ship, which has been described as the Navy's ship of the future. And we had a meeting last week with Secretary of Defense, Mr. Carter, and one of the things that I think that they have done is say we ought to end that Littoral combat ship acquisition at 40 instead of the original 52. And I asked him, I said, is this something that's based kind of on a short-term budget analysis, or is there some broader analysis that has to do with national security? And I wasn't clear about the answer, but I do know that you all requested, I think in your shipbuilding budget, 52 ships 2 years ago, and then this committee said, well, let's do a really detailed study to make sure that's right. You did that and reiterated the fact that 52 was the number that was needed. And so I guess my question is that to start with, as we focus in, has that requirement changed, that initial 52, that the warfighting analysis you did, has that changed?
It has not. We have a validated requirement for 52 LCSs.
Well, do you know, is there any sort of analysis that you know of? If it's not your analysis, is there some sort of analysis that has been done that would indicate that we need less?
I don't know of any Navy analysis that's been done that indicates that.
I got you. Well, Admiral Richard, let me ask you real quick. You know, there's also kind of, I thought, a mischaracterization that some people say, well, the LCS, and any new ship program has issues and questions just any time you do that, and there have been questions around the LCS, but it seems to have been characterized in some corners as maybe not as critical as it could be in a war fighting. It's more like a presence ship, like a patrol boat. I think the Secretary of Defense used the term as a very good lower end ship, which I would say I would hope is a mischaracterization. So maybe you could tell this subcommittee, number one, what part the LCS is going to play in the warfighting plan, and also maybe talk about some of the new capabilities, make sure that we're aware of some of those new capabilities that it brings to this warfighting capability.
Sir, as the Secretary said, the validated requirement remains for 52 small surface combatants. The LCS is the current program that fulfills that commitment, and those ships play a vital role both as independent actors. As you know, the LCS has deployed already and has done terrific work on those deployments, and has a vital role in our meeting, warfighting scenarios as well. They never were designed to be, the one and only ship. They operate alone for some missions and in concert with the rest of the battle fleet for others. But they provide essential capabilities not only as a surface combatant, and we're enhancing our capabilities there by virtue of the Small Surface Combatant Task Force, which resulted in the modifications, improvements in lethality and survivability that will be incorporated into the ultimate frigate design. We will backfit those capabilities as much as possible into all of the LCSs. They provide an anti-submarine warfare capacity, both with their helicopter, their towed arrays, and then they also provide a role in mine countermeasures mission. And so, very flexible ship, and as the Secretary said, the force structure assessment, that process by which we determine the size of the fleet, remains valid at 52. The fact that we are truncating at 40, I think, reflects, the hard choice, the extremely hard choices that we had to make to deliver this budget.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Ms. McCollum, and Ms. Granger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Mabus and Admiral Richardson, as